So this video is section 2 of a walkthrough tutorial for expressions, a topic in Algebra Tutor. If you haven't got Algebra Tutor yet, link in the description, do download it. So here we're going to look at collecting like terms. I'll speak a bit more about how to actually do that. I think I sort of breezed over it in the first video. So a sum is a list of terms. Each term starts with a plus or a minus sign, possibly an invisible plus sign if it's at the beginning of the sum. And summing together means just doing that addition and subtraction. But we can only do the addition and subtraction of the same kinds of terms. So if we've got two constant terms, two numbers, essentially we can add or subtract those together. We can sum those together. And if we've got two x terms, we could sum those together. Or if we've got lots of different y terms, all the same type of term, but they might have different coefficients, we can collect those like terms, which means you sum them together. You essentially add together the coefficients to get one of those terms. So let's go into this section. So the introduction message there, we're going to collect like terms. So particularly it's going to be easier to collect like terms within a sum if each of the terms in that sum are first simplified. So if you've got simplification to do within the whole expression by collecting like terms, but also within some of those terms needing simplifying, then it's usually better to simplify within the terms first. That's what the topic on terms is about. I've done some tutorial videos for that one. So the topic on terms is simplifying within one term. This topic is about simplifying when you've got more than one term within an expression. So if you can simplify within each term first and then look for how you can simplify by collecting those like terms together. Okay, so if you simplify that term first, it's going to make it easier to identify what kind of term it is. It's going to make it easier to spot the like terms with the other terms in the sum. Okay, so let's start the topic. Here we go. So we're going to fully simplify first. This is in show me mode, so if I press simplify, it's going to show me how to do this one. So I think it's going to simplify this big term in the middle first, and then look for any like terms that can be collected. Okay, so z divided by z is 1 divided by 1, as long as z isn't 0, which we're assuming it isn't, because we can't divide by 0. 15 divided by 3, I can do that, that's 5 divided by 1, or just 5 divided by 1 is just the thing on the numerator. And then I can start multiplying the coefficient together, so the coefficient of this term is now plus 10. And then I've got two like terms, I can collect those like terms. So I'm adding those terms together. A 3 plus a 10 is giving me 13, and they're an xy term. So if you've got 3 xy's, and then you've got another 10 xy's, and you add them together, you're going to get 13 xy's. Okay. And same idea again, let's see what simplifies here. So got rid of the multiplication sign, just written the x and y's next to each other. 10 divided by 5 is 2 divided by 1. Divided by 1, it just keeps something the same. Put the coefficient at the front, then I've got x terms, a 2x term and a 7x term can be added together to make a 9x term. Again, if you've got 2 x's and you have a 7 more, altogether you've got 9 x's being added together. Okay. Right, so lots of a's in this one, but pay attention to where the pluses and the minus signs are, because remember, multiplication glues things together into the same term. Pluses and minus signs separate out the different terms. Each plus sign is a start of a new term. So let's just think how many terms we've got here. We've got an invisible plus sign at the beginning, and then that's a plus a term. And then I'm starting a new term here, but that term doesn't finish until I get to this plus sign. So this is actually an a cubed term. Then I've got another a term, another term starts with a plus sign, and this one is an a squared term. So let's watch this one simplify. So a times a is a cubed, and then I think it will simplify the last term next. So a times a is a squared, and then I've only got two like terms, the two a terms, which will an a plus an a will give me 2a. There we go. Right, and similar idea, let's watch this one. So 5 times 6, this is the coefficient being simplified. The coefficient is negative 30. X times x will give us x squared. And then I can see I've got two x squared terms, so they can simplify. So 5x squared take away a 30x squared is going to leave me with 25, minus 25x squared. Okay, let's watch this one. Anything divided by itself is 1, except for 0, so we're assuming here that a is not 0. And then anything times 1 is just itself. And then I've got an a plus an a, which is 2 a's. I can skip to the end there. Okay. Right, so now we're into step check mode, so I'm going to have to do some of these myself. So let's simplify. Right, what have we got here then? Let's paste it in and try simplifying it. So this first term, I'm going to look at each term in turn. So I'm going to look for the coefficient of each term first, try and simplify that. So this term, I've got a coefficient of 2, so I'm going to put that at the front of the term, and it's a plus 2, but it's the first term in the sum, so that plus stays invisible. And then I've got a b and a c, nothing to simplify there. Then I'm looking at the next term. So let's look at all of the number bits. Those I can collect together into the coefficient. So I've got a 5 times an 8 is 40, times a 3 is going to give me 120 as my coefficient. Negative 120 is my coefficient. And then I've got a CB. Now remember, B, C, CB, it doesn't matter which way around you put them, that should still be the same. So this is now the same type of term, but I think I've done quite a lot of simplification on this line, so I'm just going to do a new line. Okay, you like that line, that's good. And then I'm going to collect these terms on the next line. So I'm not doing too much on one line. So positive 2 take away 120, I think is going to be negative 118 BC. There we go, and it likes that as well. Okay, there we go. Right, so again I'm going to simplify that big complicated looking term in the middle first, and then I'll see if there's anything else that I can collect like terms with. So let's paste it in and let's do some simplification. So remember, if we've got a fraction multiplied by a thing, that thing is in the numerator. Fraction times a thing goes in the top. So I'm going to put that times 2 up here, times 2x. And then anything on the top can cancel with anything on the bottom. Something divided by itself is 1. So I've got an 8 divided by an 8, that's going to give me 1. And I've got an x divided by an x. As long as x is 0, which we're assuming it's not, then that's okay. So I can get rid of that and get rid of that. Okay, and then I think that's enough for one line. And on the next line, I can see I can do 2 plus 1. I can collect the constant terms. 2 plus 1 is hopefully 3. Yeah, it's okay with that, good. There we go. So for this one, I think just the 2 middle terms, I can't see anything else that needs simplifying there. So we've got a 6x squared. 15x plus 5x is going to give me 20x's. Oh, I need to make sure I can't put an invisible plus sign there, can I? That's ridiculous. Okay, and then plus 7 at the end. But it does have the invisible plus sign at the beginning on that 6x squared term, of course. Okay, another one with all these a's and pluses and minus signs. So remember, multiplication glues them together into the same term. Plus and minus sign starts a new term. So I'm going to simplify the terms first, within the terms first, and then look for whether I've got any like terms. So this first multiplication, I've got a times an a, that's a squared. Plus starts a new term, and then I've got a times a, they're glued together into the same second term, that's another a squared. Plus starts another new term, and again I've got a times a, so a squared. So I've actually got 3a squareds. Okay, so I've summed them together on that last line. There we go. Okay, so similar idea with this one. So this a times a is actually a squared, but then I've got an a squared take away an a squared. So anything take away itself is just going to leave us with 0. So that's going to leave us with 10. Note now that because 10 is now the first term in the sum, or it's on its own, I don't need to write its plus sign down, it can become invisible. But it's still a positive 10. Okay, and then I've got the progress button, so I could go on to the next section if I feel confident with this. Let's do a couple more. Right, let's try. So that first term is 9bc. I've just got rid of the multiplication sign, don't need that. We just write the letters and the numbers next to each other. Second term starts with a minus. So if you're simplifying within a term, always good to look for that plus or minus first. Get whether it's a plus or a minus, then look for the numbers, the coefficient. So here I'm just going to look at multiplying all the numbers within this term together. They're all factors within the same product. So I've got a 10 times a 5, that's 50, times another 3 is 150. And then look at each letter in turn and try and simplify those if you need to. So here I've got a B, C. I can see now that if I click mark it here, I haven't done anything wrong yet, but it's not in the right form, so I need to keep going. I need to collect these like terms. I've got two BC terms that can be collected together. So if I simplify that, positive 9, remember the visible plus sign, take away 150, I think that's going to give me minus 141 BC. Let's see if that's right. Yeah, it likes that. Good. There we go. Okay, let's try one more and then. Right, so I've got lots of x's and y's going on here, so I need to figure out which are my like terms and see if I can collect any of these like terms. So minus 3x, I can't see any other x terms, minus 9y, can't see any other y terms, but I think these are both xy terms, even though one of them says yx. They've still just got one y factor and one x factor in both terms, so they're the same type of term. The only thing that's different is the coefficients, so they're still the same type of term. So I'm going to sum them together, I'm going to collect those like terms. Plus 4, take away 5 is going to give me minus 1, but remember I don't write the 1 in, I just put minus xy. The 1 becomes invisible if you like. There we go. Okay, and then let's click the progress button and off we go. Mr. Green's continuing his blue mode, going through the clouds. Okay, and I'll put this section 3 into the next video.